What's up, friends and foes? Welcome to Let's Get Nerdy. My name is Corey.
I'm Wyatt. We're doing another episode of Go-Go-Godzilla today where we go through every movie in the Godzilla franchise to decide which one of them truly is king of them all. And today, we're doing Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla.
That's right, we're going to 1974, the 20th anniversary of Godzilla.
That's crazy.
Yep, 20th anniversary of Godzilla to cover the movie you just said, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. And as always, we're going to get into history and initial thoughts. Wyatt, what's the history you have with this movie?
Not a lot. Not a lot, really. I think I had seen bits and pieces of this movie. I don't ever think I had seen the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I had a story. I said in the last video, I had a story for this movie. It wasn't for this one. It's for Terror of Mechagodzilla.
Okay.
That one I remember watching. I remember seeing that one.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to save that story for the next video. But yeah, I basically remember bits and pieces. Probably playing with my toys while this was on in the background.
Yeah.
That's about all I got with it.
Well, my history is so. It's gonna sound weird. I don't know what my history with this movie is because I thought I hadn't seen this movie, and then something at the beginning of the movie, I forgot exactly what happened, but something at the beginning of this movie, I went, "Oh, I've seen this and remember everything that's happened." I forget exactly what sparked that this time, but I was like, "Oh, I know exactly what's happening in this movie." So
that's interesting.
Yeah. So I have seen this movie. I don't know when. I don't know where. But then I went, oh, I remember everything. So with that, why with both of us not having a total amount of history with this movie, what are your initial thoughts after this viewing?
This is not my favorite movie.
Okay.
I think I mentioned to you right after we got done watching it just a few minutes ago. I had more fun with the last couple that we've watched, Gigan and Megalon.
Okay.
I don't know. It just didn't really. I didn't ever find it that engaging. I mean, there was. I enjoy it. Like there's things about it that I do like quite a bit. I like the Godzilla suit in this movie. I like that the older theme is kind of making its way back a little bit, not fully, but it's back, and it's not that slow lumbering theme that had been in the last couple movies. And yeah, I like it. It's just not very high on my list, I guess. What do you think?
So I really like it.
Really?
I had a really good time with this one because I think it's just a very there's a lot of them of starting to get back to what I really like about about Godzilla with this one. Starting with you get I think the fights particularly are among the best. The human plot is more on the duller side and slow moving side.
Yeah.
It very much feels meandering, and there's two different planes of action going on throughout.
Yeah.
So that is so like the human side. I'm not even going to try to defend. I just think particularly the action, Mechagodzilla. I think all of that is done to me a very entertaining way, and I thought like the production value on this is definitely higher than the previous two, so that probably leads to me enjoying this maybe a little bit more than some of the previous entries. So
that makes sense.
It's definitely I don't think going to top the list, but it's I think somewhere in a very much of a middle ground for me.
Oh, okay. Spoiler alerts for later in the video.
Now we're going to get into more specific spoiler-heavy thoughts. I'll start it off with, if you guys don't know, the plot, I already mentioned, follows like two levels of action. You follow one group who are of people who are investigating this random metal that they found while in a cave, while another group is investigating a statue that they found in the cave that turns out to be one of the monsters, one of two monsters introduced in this movie, King Caesar, who we'll cover later. And then eventually, I guess the metal is then found to belong to the aliens. in this
Yeah,
movie?
it's deduced pretty quickly that it's
Space metal. That's right.
Yeah, which sounds like an offshoot of like metal or metalcore.
Yeah, yeah. So like
uh,
instead of
but
demons and dragons, something from space.
yeah, but
Yeah.
but yeah. So we have the space metal plot going on, and we have the King Caesar plot going on. There's spies. There's a prophecy.
There's a prophecy and there's Interpol. This is straddling
Yeah,
both the Indiana Jones and the James Bond
it
worlds.
really did.
Before I guess before Indiana Jones was a thing.
Yeah, it just cast a really big net and got all of the ingredients to those two franchises and put them in one bowl.
And again, not the most, in my opinion, not the most captivating plot line. There's some entertaining action scenes,
There is.
particularly
Yeah.
early on. There's like an action scene where uh, these dudes are like, there's two guys struggling. I forget exactly what they're struggling about because again, I was like, I don't really care. But yeah,
Yeah, the action scenes they're fun. They're
fine. They're fine. I
they're
don't know
fine.
about fun.
No, I think they were some like until we got to the monster stuff, they were the things that kind of caught my attention the most,
Yeah.
I guess, because I mean they were quirky and kind of weird.
Uh-huh.
They didn't always make sense. Like for example, on the boat when uh, God, I can't remember his name, but anyway, when the one guy is chasing the alien
Yeah.
that has taken the statue,
Yeah.
he has so many opportunities to shoot said
Shoot the
alien
guy. Yeah.
and just doesn't, and then the alien proceeds to throw like beach chairs at him.
Yeah. And he gets
Really
taken.
thin foldable beach chairs,
Yeah.
and that somehow for some reason stops him from firing his gun.
Yeah. So
Um,
essentially, to cover it, so we don't have to spend too much time talking about it, is there is another group of aliens, if you can believe it, who are
Whoa! What? Another one?
who are hiding in like an island in a mountain on
Yeah.
in a cave on Okinawa,
Yeah.
which I found out reading about is a real cave that is now a tourist attraction.
Really?
Yeah, the cave that they used was inside of a real cave.
Huh. Okay.
One of the human characters is a scientist. It's the returning. Again, I always forget the actor's name. It's the guy who played Sarazawa
Yeah.
returning, which is probably because this was the 20th anniversary.
Yeah.
And
It was really cool to see him come back to
yes,
reprise a role in the franchise. So.
yeah, even though it was a role we really didn't care about. But this eventually leads to the aliens deciding that they want to start mounting their attacks. They have seemingly got control of Godzilla, but very quickly you feel something is off with this Godzilla because
Yeah.
his roars are screechy and
They're
unpleasant.
so screechy
Yeah.
and so unpleasant. And yeah, I'm gonna drop that comment real quick. I hate that noise.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's atrocious.
It's probably the one roar that I would say is worse than Anger's. It's never hit as often as the Anger's roar was in
Yeah.
Geigen, but it's still pretty bad.
That's true.
And speaking of
Oh yeah.
Anger's, so there are 4 monsters in this movie.
Yes.
There's Godzilla, Mechagodzilla, King Caesar, and Anger's gets his shit beat.
He's just like a punching bag.
Yeah, he literally like this Mechagodzilla rolls up on him, and again, because Anger's and Godzilla are friends at this point,
Yeah.
and like are partners in
Yeah.
fighting and all that.
And Mechagodzilla's still in the Godzilla suit.
Yeah, Mechagodzilla is still disguised as Godzilla,
Yeah.
and just grabs Anger's by the tail and just starts slamming him into the ground
Yeah.
over and over and over.
Yeah.
And then what does he do, Wyatt?
Well, let's see. He grabs his jaws and starts breaking them, and blood starts squirting out everywhere and stuff. And then Angus like crawls away, hobbles away
with his jaw,
and it's like
flapping
around.
I was telling Wild, this was the moment. This was the moment that I was like, oh, holy shit! I've seen this because I hate watching this. it was such a moment of like, even it feels talking about this scene because like I don't know why it makes me think of animals in the wild getting their jaws broken and
Mm.
having to slowly die
Yeah.
because that's probably what happens to Anguirus. Spoiler: I read that this is his last appearance for like 30 years in Godzilla movies. So like, I think Anguirus dies after this because you don't see him again throughout the rest of the movie.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
Damn, that's tough.
so Mechagodzilla just kills Anguirus, and Anguirus thought it was his friend Godzilla.
That's so sad.
It's terrible.
Now I feel bad for shitting on him a couple videos ago.
Yeah.
He just got his ass beat.
Say what you will about Anguirus, he gets his ass beat, but he gets up every time.
He does.
You know, he's. I'm trying to think of an equivalent. Well, you don't know. He's Krillin. You know,
Oh yeah.
he's the
Yeah, I
Krillin
do
of the
know.
series. He's always going to get up and fight again, even though he's going to get his ass beat every time. Rodan is the bitch of the series. We'll keep it that. Rodan is always going to be dirt as far as we're concerned.
Yeah.
The only-
Anguirus is always going to be better than Rodan.
Yeah, the only person or the only monster that ranks lower than Rodan is wet, shitty meat.
God damn. I'm sorry. I feel like I just spit everywhere.
Oh, you're fine.
That's
I feel like Mania now. But anyways, back to the
that's so true though.
back to the plot. And eventually, this leads to Godzilla or Mechagodzilla, still disguised as Godzilla, rampaging through. I believe it's Okinawa. Could be wrong about that. And it is a fucking awesome rampage scene
Yeah, it is.
because the effects team in this ramps it the hell up. Like
Mhm.
everything comes with an explosion, colors, like sparks are flying,
Yeah.
and it is awesome. Which I thought of doing my research on it. That is because the effects team had gotten so tired of the like childish nature and like the like cartooniness and their inability to like perform on the previous movies that their goal with this movie was to prove that they could do an effects heavy blockbuster that is on par with like American movies at the time.
That's really
So
interesting.
that's why they like were especially like focusing on those exposure and those big set pieces in this one.
That's really interesting.
And
You can notice a distinct difference.
yes,
So
because this is also the first movie, probably since I'm gonna say like King Ghidorah, that doesn't feel like it's largely recut or new. Like
yeah.
this is all new footage, and
Yeah.
you can really tell because then you get the fucking fight between Godzilla and Mechagodzilla. And why? What do you get the first ever of in this series?
First ever. Oh, okay. I'll get to that in just a second.
Okay.
But like, yeah, when Godzilla shows up on screen finally, and I do. Okay, let me back up even further, real quick, for just a second. They do a pretty good job of like disguising Mechagodzilla,
Yes.
but also like it's kind of totally obvious at the same time.
Well, because
like,
of the roar.
The roar, his spines are yellow, and
Yeah.
his breath is yellow, and then when he steps, like it has a metallic sound to it, kind of.
And he is a little bit more like
Yeah.
yeah.
Which I just thought that was cool.
Yeah.
I like that those little touches and things there. But anyway, to move forward from that too, when Godzilla shows up on screen, it's kind of like painting on this like warehouse building, and Mechagodzilla's kind of like trained on it and like focused on it and like kind of just really watching it, checking it out. And then Godzilla just like bursts up out of this building. I don't know fucking how. I don't know like how did he get up in the building?
I don't know.
But I don't care.
But
It's awesome. It's fucking awesome.
And I've talked about, I think we both talked about before being suckers for the arrival scenes.
Yeah.
And Godzilla not only has one, but two awesome arrival scenes in this movie, making up for the very shitty arrival scenes in Megalon.
The last one, yeah.
Yeah, and it is awesome. And then the fight itself is really cool. Yeah, just like you get the first ever beam struggle. You kind of get them like hitting back and forth.
Yeah. Which was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think at that point had Mechagodzilla had dropped his like disguise, right?
For the beam struggle, I think so.
Yeah, I think at that point in the fight, yeah.
Yeah, but at the first, like when they're first like trading blows, you get the like peeling of the outer shell, revealing the metal guy in the suit.
Yeah.
Well, the disguise is slowly breaking away, and then like there is even a moment where Godzilla blows a huge chunk of it off of him, and like notices like the back totally exposed and is confused as to what's happening.
Yeah. And then at some point the aliens are just like, all right, the gig is up, and they just like dissolve the rest of the suit. Which
And
I'm also kind of curious as to why they even had the suit to begin with.
yeah, they didn't really.
But-
I don't like the only thing I can think of is they're trying to like make it seem like Godzilla was the like humanity's savior is now is the bad guy again.
Yeah.
But they didn't really drive that home or stick
No.
with it for very long.
It's like they were just like, oh, we're gonna get him with this one, this little
Yeah.
prank,
But
and then it didn't.
Yeah, and I think at this point, this is when he started going ham with the finger rockets.
Yeah, he
started-
lost a few of those.
Started, you know, what did he start doing? What?
I feel like I'm missing something here.
You are okay.
Oh no.
I don't want to say it now.
Say it.
Finger blasting.
Oh Jesus.
I didn't want to be the one to say it. We were all thinking it.
I wasn't
We
thinking
were all
it.
thinking it.
Nope, not at all.
Anyways, Mechagodzilla starts blasting, and this sends Godzilla kind of away, like I think back in the ocean.
Well, I think once they hit the laser.
Oh, and it
What the
knocks
fuck?
like it's like
What is that called?
in Dragon Ball Z. It's called a beam struggle.
Yeah.
So that's what I go to.
All right,
That's
we're gonna roll with it.
Okay, yeah. So after the beam, and there's an explosion, and then it knocks like it takes Mechagodzilla out,
Yeah.
and then Godzilla is sent back to the ocean, and like, oh, and it's kind of crazy because you see like the water bubbling with a bunch of red in it, so it's like almost implies that he dies.
Yeah, there's some random blood
Yeah,
in the water.
there's a lot of blood in this movie.
There is. It's surprising.
There's like some of it like it's like comical, like the way slasher movies do like spray of like even out of Godzilla. And say what you will, you know, there's sustained damage throughout this whole thing.
There is little things that had been in the previous two movies with Gigan, like the blood and I guess even the previous three because of Hedorah, they sustained damage. There's things that are starting to stick more and be more prominent.
Yeah,
which was pretty cool. It's like you were talking about the blood, like they got away with a little bit of blood in Gigan twice, and then they're just like, oh, dump the whole bucket.
Yeah,
in this one, and they do. They dump the entire bucket. Of blood several times.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, it's. I don't know. I don't really remember exactly what happens after the beam. Oh, Mechagodzilla's head gets fucked up, and then he has to go back to base for repairs.
Yes, and this leads to.
I just watched this movie.
Yeah, we literally just got up from the couch.
Holy shit!
So from here is when we get kind of another extended human sequences with both planes of action, as the people who know about the metal and the aliens are trying to investigate the aliens and track them down, which they eventually do. You also have the people who have learned about the legend of King Caesar, who is like meant to protect the island of Okinawa, and the prophecy of how to awaken him, I guess it is supposed to be. And they go on their quests, and all while, I guess, trying to figure out how to beat the aliens. Somewhere in here, they find out that the aliens are not just human aliens; they are apes. Because one of them gets shot in the face, and half of the ape face comes out.
Yeah.
And what do you think of our new ape overlords, Wyatt?
Not gonna lie, this is like the most disappointing aliens we've had so far. I think.
More disappointing than cockroaches?
Yeah, because at least that was like so fucking weird. Like I thought it was hilarious. This is just like like a Halloween costume from down the street.
That's fair.
At the Dollar General.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I did not like the alien.
You did?
No, not really. not really.
That's fair. And anything I've loved about this movie is nothing to do with the actual plot or the humans of it. Like I thought
Yeah.
some of it, like the actual like the action scenes that we mentioned, I think are somewhat entertaining, but because they're not, they're entertaining because they're like kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Which I guess kind of is a lot of what to love about this series. Like there is so much stuff that is just ridiculous and kind of like
Yeah.
off the wall, and it's like you just have to embrace the craziness of everything, you know?
I will say the first fight where the first reveal of the ape when he gets shot in the face was pretty
Oh yeah.
crazy because it's in like a I guess a room of a in a cabin of a yacht or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
uh, and they're like wrestling over the King Caesar statue, and the homeboy gets blasted in the face. It
Yeah.
like you just when we were talking about the blood spray, like literally you see it go, tss, and then it cuts to like he has now an ape face.
Yeah.
So that reveal, that reveal I thought was pretty entertaining.
The reveal was cool. And I remember that bit from when I was a kid, and I remember it freaking me the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
And it also, when we were watching it just now, it made me think of the Twilight Zone
Mm-hmm.
for some reason. I don't know why exactly, but the
I could
ape,
see that. I'm sure. I think there's something. I'm sure there's an episode of Twilight Zone where this happens.
something. Yeah, I'm sure some way there's something similar to it at least.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe I was thinking of the episode with the ape on the plane wing.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what you're thinking of.
Yeah.
With like William Shatner looking out.
Is it William
It's
Shatner?
William Shatner. And he's like, "There's
Oh.
something on the plane." Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know it was William Shatner, but
Yeah.
yeah, I guess that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, but that was cool. It was cool how it like I don't know. I thought that fight was fun because like the guy like the wrestling and rolling and boxing
Yeah.
and kicking and shit, and then like he does that cool like dive on the bed and twirls and shoots the alien in the head, and
Yeah.
then you get the reveal and stuff, and then that leads to the chase we were talking about earlier with
Yeah.
the chairs getting thrown and him having ample opportunity to shoot the alien again, but just not doing it, and then yeah, he runs up some stairs and
Yeah. And then eventually somewhere in here you get the reveal of an Interpol agent has been following this whole time. And they've kind of made it seem like he's the weird bad guy, but it turns out he's the good guy.
yeah.
Which is
Yeah, it's good. There's just several shots of like ominous looking people, like in coats leaned up against buildings with glasses and then
yeah.
weird mustaches and shit.
Yeah.
And some of them are the aliens and some of them are the Interpol agents. And I don't know if that was intentional or if they just all look.
But
But
because I'm ready to move on from this, I'm ready to move on from the humans because you do get a really awesome sequence and scene somewhere in here where Godzilla is like, I'm assuming back on Monster Island. I could be wrong. In a lightning storm
oh
and
yeah,
gets shocked and like again, it doesn't make sense because if you've been following in Godzilla vs King Kong, we've clearly established that lightning is not Godzilla's strong suit. But then somewhere, and I guess Godzilla versus the sea monster, it is now established that that's wrong, and Godzilla and lightning are best friends. And in this movie, he gets shocked by lightning, and it actually creates for a really cool fucking scene
yeah,
where the lightning like shocks him, and it like colors reverberate throughout his body, and then behind him you just get this like sparkling like kind of like the reveal from GXK, um, with just more practical effects that they could use in the 70s, you know.
yeah.
So what did you, I guess, think about that scene?
Um, that was pretty cool. That was it was. I couldn't tell at first, like if he was getting injured by the lightning, and then yeah, you find out he's uh, evolving, I guess.
Yeah. Which you did say when the scene was over, you're like, "Oh, that was actually pretty fucking cool."
No, it was. It was really cool. In the shot of like him, like in the dark, stormy night, like and just rain coming down, he's got this like sparkling fire shit going on behind him, and he's just all like ready to go and shit. You know, it looked like a very early burning Godzilla. Not really, but it was a cool shot.
Yeah, it was very cool, very anime,
Yeah,
if I
yeah,
can say. Um, and also somewhere eventually you get the reveal. So to keep some monochrome of the human plot, in here so that we know what's going on. The guy who used to play Dr. Serizawa is then forced to fix Mechagodzilla to save his family, and it turns out the aliens were lying and threw him in a jail cell too.
Yeah, surprise, double cross.
Yeah.
Which, I'm sorry. Side note again. I've had many side notes this episode.
No, go ahead.
These aliens, they're like, oh yeah, we need an Earth scientist to fix our fucking robot that broke itself. They built the damn thing. How do they not know how to fix it? I don't. What?
I think they said that the guys who know how to work on it aren't there, or they don't have the materials.
I didn't understand that.
These guys just seemed a little lazy, if you're asking me.
They were lazy and cocky, and
yeah. Only one of them ever left the cave, and he got his ass beat and chucked in the ocean.
Yeah,
and then the other ones were just the whole time smoking cigars.
Yeah,
sucking down stogies and destroying the earth.
They really were. Like he just sat there in like his weird little half shiny jacket thing and smoked cigars and shit. But yeah, no. So they kidnapped not Serizawa to work on the head, and then
and then eventually we get the reveal of King Caesar, introduced by someone singing a song not only once but twice, and it feels like it goes on forever.
Yeah.
What did you feel about not only the reveal of King Caesar, but King Caesar in general?
I think King Caesar is cool. The song did go on too long, but it wasn't a bad song.
It was. It just was like
it was too long though, because like it was. You have like the reveal of the cave that he's sleeping in. The wall explodes and there he is, like in a misty, dark, mysterious cave, and ooh, King Caesar.
And then it's another 5 minutes.
Because then you get some more exposition as to like, oh, he's this and that, and then like the descendant of the Azumi, I think, is the bloodline, the royalty. They're the only ones that could wake him up, and this chick is the only one that's left. So she decides to run down to the beach and start singing and stuff, and goes into her song, which is too long. It's long enough to the point that like I was starting to lose the excitement for King Caesar during the song, and like I began thinking, oh, wouldn't it be kind of funny if like she gets done singing and he just didn't wake up? Like she got like one of the words wrong, and he's just like,
no,
and doesn't wake up. But yeah, she gets done singing, and then like his eyes light up immediately, and then for some reason the mountain explodes.
Well, yeah, it's interesting.
He couldn't just climb out of it; like it has to literally explode.
I don't see the problem. Why?
It's not a problem. It's just like, oh my, okay.
Yeah. The explosions in this movie are the words we use: excessive, especially in a moment we'll get to in a second here.
Yeah.
But so some cool kind of little facts about King Caesar that I read is like he's actually based off of these like kind of gargoyle-esque statues on the island of Okinawa that are meant to like ward off evil spirits. So that's where like King Caesar is kind of playing into that of the culture of like literally the island of Okinawa itself. And yeah, then eventually he starts to fight Mechagodzilla. Mm-hmm. It's actually a pretty good fight. He's like he has this really cool power where Mechagodzilla will shoot him with his Mechagodzilla's atomic breath, and he just takes it in and shoots it right back, which I forgot about.
Yeah, I did too. That was pretty cool. His like rainbow. Well, and I guess it's out of his eyes, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it like goes in one eye and goes out the other eye. Is what I remember.
From Mechagodzilla?
No,
doesn't. Yeah, doesn't he shoot out of his eyes?
Yes, he does. He does.
And then like he has lightning that shoots from. Is it from his mouth or from his chest? I'm getting sidetracked anyway. Yeah, it is pretty cool how he like bounces it back at Mechagodzilla.
Yeah.
And then I thought it was funny how King Caesar, like his ears, like he picked up on Mechagodzilla and his ears like shot up.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And like he was alert and ready to go. And I've always thought his design was cool.
Oh yeah, and it makes you wonder why we haven't gotten any more of him. But
he's in one other movie at least.
He's in one other movie, and his usage in that one's a little bit weird.
I think yeah.
But we're gonna get to that one eventually. We've
Eventually.
got a number of different movies to get to before we get to that one.
Yeah. I wish he would have been utilized more though, because I think
Yeah.
he's a pretty cool character.
Which I have a question for you on
Yes.
that
Okay.
later.
Oh, later. Damn.
So getting back to the plot though, or back to where we're at, then
Yeah.
eventually, because King Caesar starts getting his ass beat for this
Pretty quickly.
this great legendary guardian.
Yeah.
He doesn't do his job very well at all.
No.
And then we get the second arrival of Godzilla,
Yeah.
and this one is fucking awesome again because you just get the bubbling water with this blue hue in it that we have now seen so many times in other movies and especially in the Legendary series, but
Yeah.
kind of is a first for the series
Mhm.
to my memory. And up comes Godzilla,
Yeah.
ready to fucking fight. And it's awesome, doubly awesome because everybody else thought he was dead, except for the audience. And you get that moment, everyone's like, the aliens being like, "Oh, we're
fuck.
screwed, we're screwed."
And not to mention that alone, but like he's accompanied with his theme.
Yes,
It's you get the big opening notes, and then it's a little bit different than the classic theme. But yeah, it's his theme as he's coming back. So.
Not quite the one that hits in like it did in Mothra.
Yeah.
But still a bit of the original theme, and
very cool.
He fucking he walks down Mechagodzilla, and they start going to town on each other. You get a lot of really cool moments in here. The ones that stick out is like the one that sticks out to me the most because of how excessive it is and how much it like keeps cutting back and forth is King Caesar and Godzilla keep getting spammed from Mechagodzilla, who now doesn't. Not only does he have hand missiles, he has knee missiles and toes missiles,
yeah,
like head, shoulders, knees, and toes worth of full missiles.
Yeah. And he's got all of those missiles plus his little lightning blast that comes from somewhere, and then his eye lasers as well. And it's cool because like at one point King Caesar's behind him and Godzilla is over here.
Yeah, and
his
he's
head
got
turns around.
Yeah,
so he's warding off both of them, and then starts unloading on both of them.
Yes, and I will say that the use of Mechagodzilla's head and being able to like rotate, I thought was actually really cool.
It was cool. Yeah.
It was a really cool touch, and like I love. We haven't talked about it yet. I love the design of this Mechagodzilla.
Yeah.
We've kind of talked about. I remember like to compare it to the only other Mechagodzilla we've watched so far, the one from Godzilla vs Kong.
Yeah.
I much prefer this design.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Like I love like it is so of that sci-fi era. It's just a weirdly mix of like it's a timeless look somehow, but like a classic at the same time.
Yeah.
And I just love the design.
Yeah, it's great. It's so much better than the legendary design.
Yeah.
And I'm not a fan of the legendary Mechagodzilla, as I've made it very clear, I'm sure, in that video. But no, this one you put it really well. It's timeless and it's classic, and it's a great design.
Yes.
I don't know which of the Toho designs is my favorite, but we'll get to that later.
I do, and we'll get to that.
Oh, okay.
I know which one's also my least favorite, and
really?
we will get to that. But
yeah.
I guess to start sort of wrapping up, like of the last fight.
Yeah.
Is there anything that sticks out with you to use specifically?
Yeah. I mean, I think it. Like, I guess to kind of briefly say it's a fun fight. It's not super long and it's not super quick. And it's a little bit of back and forth, but I think it's pretty heavily dominated by Mechagodzilla.
Yeah.
For a large portion of it. And to go to that word excessive like he does, just totally fucking annihilate Godzilla and King Caesar for a while. With I don't know how he keeps reloading his hands, his fingers, toes, and knees, but he does. And he starts flying around and strafing and launching lasers and rockets and lightning and all kinds of shit. And
this is when you start getting Godzilla like all cut up and like
the blood comes back,
drenched in blood,
literally. And like Godzilla's like bleeding out of his mouth, and like Mechagodzilla's launching his lasers at his neck and shit, and he's squirting blood out of his neck, and like it's just going all over the place. And then at one point there's finger rockets that don't explode for some reason, but he launches them and they land in Godzilla and they stick. So he's laying on the ground covered in blood, leaking blood, and he's got these rockets poking out of him and shit.
Yeah.
Which then leads to the point in the fight where it kind of lost me a little bit.
Okay.
Because he stands up, which is fucking awesome, because Godzilla always gets back up.
Yeah.
And then the rocket things just fall off, and he suddenly has become a magnet.
Yeah, so they don't
Like-
just. It doesn't seem like to me. It doesn't seem like they fall off. Like he gets up and like this may be how I interpret it, or like the little kid in me wants it to be.
Yeah.
It seems like he just goes like, huh, like almost
he
like
flexed in
flexes them
there.
out, flexes them out.
Yeah.
Kind of like when Superman gets all shot up with bullets and goes
Yeah.
like and lets them all fall off and stuff like that.
Right.
And yeah, Godzilla becomes a giant magnet,
Yeah.
and
It's a comical scene. It feels like the more goofier kid Godzillas that we've seen recently, and then like there's some radio towers that just start flying towards him.
Yeah.
And then like land on him, and then Mechagodzilla's trying to fly and do his strafing shit,
Yeah.
And then somebody at some point is like, Godzilla's turned himself into a giant magnet.
They just figured it out immediately.
And then Mechagodzilla's getting pulled back, and it was cracking me up because Godzilla was like grabbing a rope, like he's dragging him back. But I'm sorry. I think you were going to say something. I'm going to cut you off with that.
Well, no, it's just eventually Godzilla gets dragged all the way back. And Godzilla pretty much bear hugs him while King Caesar is like taking his lunch money pretty much.
Pretty much. Yeah, he's headbutting him and running into him, and there's sparks flying, and the aliens are like, Mechagodzilla, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like he
has any control over getting his ass beat.
Yeah. And he tries to fly away at one point, and I guess Godzilla's put on a few pounds because he couldn't take off with Godzilla attached to him. And then back to taking the lunch money.
Oh yeah, and because this is also dad bod Godzilla at this point. He's got a kid, he can't
definitely.
He can't spend as much time working out. He's got Monster Island to take care of and his kid, but this is when Godzilla finally kills Mechagodzilla. In in my opinion, such a badass.
It's so cool
because he literally, we've talked about, his head spins. Godzilla literally like takes it and just forces it to turn around until it
explodes.
Explodes off, and then you see it like just fall to the ground.
Yeah.
Very, I think, reminiscent of, or I guess it's the other way around. The Godzilla versus Kong ending, where Kong rips the head off. I don't know if it was a reference, but it's reminiscent of it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I thought it was just an awesome end to that fight.
It was really cool because it's just like that kind of badass Godzilla, like doing his thing, and then like there's some explosions and shit, so that's better,
Yeah.
But then the aliens all freak out, and the scientist and the Interpol agent and the scientist's nephew, they escape, and the facility blows up and shit.
Well, and they shoot all the aliens.
There's some aliens getting shot. Yeah. There's no funny aliens talking to each other this time though, which is kind of disappointing.
Yeah, there's no cockroaches. Professing their love to each other.
Sadly. But yeah, then King Caesar kind of hops back into his mountain, and the mountain regenerates.
I interpreted it, and I could be entirely wrong, that somehow the explosion and like the way Mechagodzilla body like weirdly dissolves, reforms the mountain, which could also just be part of the prophecy.
Could be, yeah.
But at this point, I got what I wanted from this movie, and I was no longer paying attention.
Yeah. It honestly, it ends pretty abruptly. I mean, there's a little bit of like ceremonial, like they put the King Caesar statue back and lock it away, and then there's some hugs and everybody's happy and shit. And then there's not much else.
Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla.
Yeah, Mechagodzilla reigns. Excuse me. Mechagodzilla rains from the sky in little shiny pieces, and then credits. I guess pretty much it. It's pretty abrupt. So
yes.
Yeah.
Well,
goodbye. No.
So with that, as we're kind of starting to wrap this one up, we want to hit some final thoughts. Why is there anything else that we hadn't talked about that you want to talk about?
Um, I didn't look up the budget for this one, but it was the same director, which I did want.
Yep.
Good God, my voice is cracking a lot tonight. I am so sorry. It's the same director, John Fukuda,
Jun Fukuda.
Jun Fukuda.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's making another return, which is pretty
And
cool.
this is his last Godzilla movie.
Is it his last one?
Yep.
Well, shit. Okay.
Yep.
Well, that sucks. But yeah. So he had come back. I just wanted to make a note of that too, because he had been in. He had made a few now at this point. So
Yeah, he'd made quite a few, and this is and I did a little bit of research ahead of time for the next one, and we'll cover just I guess why it was his last one. Which actually it doesn't matter. He got sick of. He just was done doing them because like this was if he did Gigan, Megalon, and this all in a row. And before then, he had also done Son of Godzilla and Ibra the Horde of the Deep back to back. So like
that's a lot.
that's a lot of movies to
in
be
a short time span too, really. So
yeah, in like I think less than 10 years.
Yeah.
So he was like, all right, I've done enough
Yeah.
big monster movies. Again, I want to keep shouting out the special effects because like that's what I found in my research. Like these guys, the special effects team, really wanted, like, made a point, like they wanted this one to kind of with it, especially it being the 20th anniversary, harken back to maybe the original vibe of the movies. And I want to give a shout out to the opening credits
Those were
because this is the first like every single one of them has had some kind of like dynamics to it, but this is the first one that we had like the full on, like it was like a font with each monster name in different colors that we'll see a lot more common in the coming movies as we get into them. And I thought the opening credits were really cool.
They were cool, yeah.
Specifically the main title, which is kind of the thing I particularly wanted to give a shout out to.
Yeah.
So, if you got nothing else to say, we're going to go ahead and move on to the ranking of this movie. So, if you don't know, we're here to pretty much see how each Godzilla movie ranks up towards the end. If you haven't paid attention to the intro, you fucking moron. No,
oh my god.
Anyways, there is 18 movies currently we have covered before today. At number 18, Godzilla Raids Again. At number 17, I believe we have Godzilla's Revenge. At number 16, I believe we have Son of Godzilla.
Yep.
And at number I'm so terrible at counting, guys.
15.
At number 15, I believe this is where we have Godzilla vs. Megalon.
Yeah.
Godzilla vs. Megalon. At number 13?
14.
Number 14, we have Invasion of the Astro Monster. Right?
Nope.
Oh my god.
It is not.
It's your turn to read it.
It's my turn to? Okay,
Yeah.
I'll read it.
At number 17, nope. At number 18, we have Godzilla Raids Again. At number 17, we have Godzilla's Revenge.
Do you want the list? I'm sorry.
Don't distract me when I'm doing it. Okay, I got you. At number 18, we have Godzilla Raids Again. At number 17, we have Godzilla's Revenge. At number 16, we have Son of Godzilla.
Yep.
At number 15, we have Godzilla vs. Megalon.
Bullshit.
At number 14, we have Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster, or Hedorah. At number 13, we have Invasion of the Astro Monster. At number 12, we have Godzilla vs. King Kong from 1962. At number 11, we have Godzilla vs. Kong from 2021.
Mm-hmm.
At number 10, we still have Godzilla 2014. And the biggest sin of this list, I'll argue, at number 9, we have Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster, above 2014. At number 8, we have Ghidorah, the three-headed monster. At number 7, we still have Destroy All Monsters. At number 6, we have Godzilla vs. Gigan. At number 5, we have GXK, the New Empire. At number 4, we have the original 1954 Godzilla. At number 3, we have Godzilla vs. Mothra. At number 2, we have Godzilla King of the Monsters from 2019. And still at number 1 remains Godzilla -1. Where do you think this should rank?
I'm gonna put. I'm sorry. I'm gonna put this at 14 for me.
That's tough, Wyatt.
Yeah.
That's gonna be tough for you because I think this should go right below Gigan
Really?
because it's the fights are so good. The fights are so good. Mm,
That's a big difference
it's a big
that
difference.
we have there.
Let me rethink this.
Okay.
No, so okay. Initially, I'm thinking right below Gigan.
Uh-huh.
Just because.
The fuck is that? Sorry, there's just some random music outside my
Yeah.
house suddenly.
Anyways. Mm. But I don't. Okay. So here's where I'm at right now.
Okay.
I like the Invasion of the Astro Monster better than this movie.
I do too.
But there's so much. I don't like it more. I don't like Sea Monster more than this. I like this movie more than. I actually, I genuinely do like this movie more than Ghidorah. I like this movie more than Ibra, The Horror of the Deep. And I like this more than Destroy All Monsters. So
Really?
I'm very, yes, I do.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, I do, and I'm very confident in my. This is going to go below Gigan, and because if you don't know,
Oh no.
when me and Wyatt disagree, which we often do actually on most of these, we've disagreed,
Yeah,
which I
most
think
of
is
them.
great. And with that, the way we figure out where this is actually properly going to rank is we go ahead and play rock, paper,
Hell in a Cell.
scissors.
It's rock, paper, scissors.
I'll do Hell in a
No,
Cell, brother.
no,
Okay.
no, he's like 7 feet tall. No. Dear God, no.
I'm professionally trained.
I know. I've
Okay.
seen you wrestle.
Okay, so we're going to play rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Whoever wins is the winner. Okay.
Yep.
So, rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Fuck.
Ah!
Son of a bitch, I'm losing my streak.
So,
Fuck me. God
for
damn it.
2 weeks in a row, your man's is doing well.
Some
The
bullshit.
list now stands at number 19 is Godzilla Raids Again. At number 18, we have Godzilla's Revenge. At number 17, we have Son of Godzilla. At number 16, we now have Godzilla vs. Megalon. At number 15, we have Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster. At number 14, we have Invasion of the Astro Monster. At number 13, we have Godzilla vs. Kong from 2021. At number 12, right? Yeah, at number 12, we have Godzilla vs. Kong from 2021.
Is it 12?
Yeah, because everything got moved down one.
Yeah, okay. I just
So
zoned out for like
at
a
number
solid
11,
second.
we have Godzilla 2014. At number 10, we have Godzilla versus the Sea Monster. At number 9, we have Ghidorah, the three-headed monster. At number 8, we have Destroy All Monsters. And now at number 7, we have Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. And at number 6 still remains Godzilla versus Gigan. At number 5, we have Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. At number 4, we have the original Godzilla from 1954. At number 3, we have Godzilla versus Mothra. At number 2, we have Godzilla King of the Monsters from 2019. And at number 1, Godzilla -1. This top 5 has been a very solid top 5 that's
super
not
consistent.
moved.
Yeah.
Again, I still think we have contenders that are going to shake that up in the coming weeks here.
Yeah, probably so. But I mean, just to talk about that for like 2 seconds, the last one to go in the top 5 was Mothra, and that was a really long time ago.
Yes,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really cool, and I'm excited to keep covering them. The next one we have on the docket is the Terror of Mechagodzilla. I think the first ever like direct sequel to a like the previous movie.
Maybe.
I guess Raids Again would count. But like this one is like specifically a follow up. Like all the other ones have not been super referential. Which I guess, to be clear, I've never seen Terror of Mechagodzilla. So it could still be a standalone thing. I don't know for sure. Have you seen it before?
I've seen it, but I was pretty little. I've seen it one time, and I was a bit traumatized when I watched it. So
I'm sure that's a story we're going to hear next
story.
week. Yeah. Okay. Well, and yeah, with that, we're getting very close. We have 2 more movies officially left in the Showa era.
Kind of sad. Kind of bittersweet.
Kind of
but
sad, but we're going to get into the era that we might be a little bit more biased.
So excited for it.
Until then, please like and subscribe if you want to follow along. I'm Corey,
I'm Wyatt.
and we got to get back to nerding out.
Thank you guys. Boom. Pencil drop.